So, my friends, I kind of want to invite you to ground ourselves for this opening ceremony, if you will. So, if I can invite you to close your eyes or gaze at a spot in front of you. I want you to sit and know that you're sitting, and breathe and know that you're breathing. As you take your next breath, I invite you to recall memories where you honored people in your life or people honored you. This honoring could be formal, informal, or even silent. Note in your body how either receiving honor or preparing for honor felt like, and where in your body you notice it the most. As you notice the time lapse of memories of honor and being honored, notice the actions you took to honor others, or actions you received as others honored you. Recall how you learned to honor important people in your life. I request that you bring the benevolent emotions with you to this place we are today. May the traditions of honor, the memories of honor, and being honored ground us for this opening ceremony. You may open your eyes. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here tonight. I know that sounds like the beginning of a wedding. No one's getting married today. Although you have walked into a family affair this afternoon. Among us sit very special members of this beloved community who laid the relational foundations for this cherished community. In our 30th year, it is only fitting that we honor them, who formed something at a time when non-guild multidisciplinary gathering was not the norm. Also, with us are generations of integrated care professionals, the legacy children and grandchildren of our honorees tonight. I know we have some first-time attendees in the audience, so if you are a first-time attendee, would you raise your hands? A big round of applause to them. We want to welcome you to the family and a very special family event. So what do you do when special people move you and you are spiritually compelled to honor them? Today is a small answer to that question. Well, we begin by naming them. What is appropriate for a group of people who have nurtured us to today? Are they legends? For sure. Are they guardians? Perhaps. Here's what I learned in the unlikely story that is us. In a healthcare world where fragmentation is rewarded, without much fuss or fanfare across the nation, the idea of integration began percolating. The people who embodied the idea of integration, they became like lights with a gravitational pull that gathered unto them networks of people who were similarly lit from within, and they were undaunted by a hazy future. Because they lit and continue to light the path that we have traveled for 30 years, they are the luminaries of CFHA. There are many of them, but 18 of them have graced us today with their presence. At this time, luminaries, you know who you are. I want you to get up and join Daniela and Hannah on this side of the stage. You could clap. After naming them, the next wholehearted action is to bring them home, or bring a little bit of home to them. In my home state of Kerala, India, we honor our teachers, elders, and mentors through a special ceremony called Ponada Anikel. Ponada is a shawl adorned around the shoulders of a dignitary being honored. The literal meaning of the word ponada is precious golden cloth. So I hired 2 agents in Kerala, my loving mom and dad, who ran around to secure the goods. Though our tradition uses a white cotton cloth with golden borders, we have adapted it a little bit so that our luminaries may warmly remember us and this moment. So with expert consultation from my mom and dad, our luminaries will be warmed by Kashmiri shawls. Embroidered in each of these shawls are the words, "Celebrating you as a CFHA luminary, San Antonio, Texas, October 2024. Now, Neftali and I will adorn each of them, one after the other, as they are led onto stage. Their names will be called out, and their pictures will be shown in the screen behind us. We ask them to give us words or phrases for each of you who are the future luminaries of CFHA. Dr. McCarran Baird will provide a short reflection once we finish the ceremonies on stage. So CFHA, I want you to hold the space as we honor those who found us.
Alan Lawrence. Alexander Blount. Andrew Valeris. Bill Gunn. Bill Sieber. CJ Peak. Chris Hunter. Colleen Clemency Cord. Frank DeGroot. Jean Rusty Kallenberg. John Rowland. Larry Mouch. Natalie Levkovich. Horinda Khatri. Patricia Robinson. Randall Wrights. Susan McDaniel. Mac Baird.
Well, thank you, Deepu, and thank you everyone in CFHA for honoring the luminaries for this event. I know not all of us were able to come today, but we're honored and just very grateful to be here at all. Celebrating 30 years for CFHA and the ongoing success of the journal Family Systems and Health, previously Family Systems Medicine. And this non-guild organization that was created at a time when, as was mentioned, such things just didn't happen. We know that this is a developing field that's continuing to grow and prosper, and we are deeply honored to be here as it honors three themes that Don Block helped set out when we first started this through his genius of organization and persistence. We're dedicated to teams of interacting professionals of all different kinds working together in concert on behalf of patients. We're trying to honor the biological, social, and psychological and contextual circumstances of patients and families as we do our work. And we're insisting that family is part of that context. I used to think it was the only context, but I grew larger along with the organization, and we know now that social and other contexts matter, and they matter a great deal over time. The journal helped document the growth of this whole enterprise, and the early journal was entirely supported for a while by Don Block and a number of the luminaries that are here and organizers of the events that followed. We stand on the shoulders of too many other pioneers in family systems and general systems theory and in primary care fields and mental health fields of all types. We want to remember them as we stand together this evening. And there are still things that are alive and well and growing and prospering within this field, but we know we face many of the same boundary barriers that we faced early on. Institutional structures and the progress that we've made are impressive, but those structures are still largely separating mental health and medical health, not to mention social issues. We have separate behavioral health and medical practices usually, although we have many examples of integrated practices we're hearing about this week and have been well publicized in the journal. We have separate billing and payment methods for both mental health and medical care, but they are becoming more integrated gradually. This is a social as well as a behavioral and medical environment movement, and it takes time to shift these glaciers. And then the research that supports this enterprise is complex, and it often takes techniques for research that people on stage here have pioneered, and it isn't the normal kind of research that is often recognized, but it helps us document the value and pitfalls of our efforts. And the underlying funding for primary care, as has been pointed out by other luminaries whom I queried, has been undermined over the last decades more than it's been supported in many ways. Primary care fields are growing, but the integration is growing much more slowly. And that will probably continue to be a boundary issue for us as we go forward. Having been serving in many different administrative roles, many of us have seen how difficult it is to change those things. The good news is we're getting older. I guess the bad news is things come along with that require complex coordinated care among many professionals, and you're part of that team that is needed. The downside is the commodification of healthcare is seemingly endless. As we break apart pieces of either specialty or primary care into subparts that are profitable, whether it's answering the phone or doing care coordination, if that's carved out separately to separate corporations, that diminishes the center. We want to help that stay centered and organized around this teamwork with which we represent. And also the diagnosis seems to be prominent for payment and other methods. It's relevant, but it's not universally the most helpful thing, as we know. Sometimes context is the most important thing. I don't see that usually in a typical billing cycle, but we pay attention to that in this group. And then location has always been central, difficult as always. It remains so. Maybe video visits, et cetera, have helped, but co-location still brings people and professionals together, as well as families that are occasionally correlated with other family members, and that helps as well. So overall, we're thrilled to be here. We're honored. We're moved to see all of you and to see this level of recognition in such an elegant way that DUPU has done. But we want to remember that fragmented care must be a never event in healthcare. That's our mission. That ought to never exist. We will continue fighting for that right. Now, when we started this, some of us published articles about sailing the ship as we build it. It's a messy, wet enterprise. We want to keep on patching the holes and bailing the boat, keep those pumps working, and put your energy and passion to fill the sails to keep this ship moving. And then finally, I want to remember one of my other mentors of many of the pioneers of family therapy, the deceased Rabbi Edwin Friedman. And some of you may have heard me say this before. He said to me one time on our living room couch when I was discouraged that the world was not rotating properly. It ought to move into this integrated direction. He said, Mac, it's important to keep that flickering flame of idealism alive. And then he said, and sometimes that's all an entire generation gets to do. You are that generation. We're passing this flickering flame on to you, so keep it aflame, keep it vibrant, and we will continue with you to light the way. Thank you.
CFHA, these are your luminaries. Let me end with a brief reflection on the word family. The institution of family has profoundly and resiliently changed over the past 30+ years. From the stereotypical single-family unit, mom, dad, children, society has evolved to make room for divorced and remarried families, step-families, same-sex couples and LGBTQ families, and even families of kinship without biological ties. Regardless of who makes a family, the family unit still has the same function: calibrate cohesion and flexibility throughout their life cycle stages as a unit to form and nurture healthy individuals who can reasonably differentiate and make choices of their own. Differentiation of the self is the ability to balance emotional and logical processes and to maintain independence while still remaining connected with others. From my reflections, CFHA has, in its own way, transitioned in shape and form like the family structure while remaining true to its function. Though the word family in our name may have had some disciplinary convictions, I take the view that over time, CFHA has functioned more as a family, where a family is a stable professional home or base or unit to launch many differentiated ideas and individuals into the world to transform the world around us while still remaining connected. The history of this family the people that you saw up here, begins with displacement from another professional organization. We won't name any names. So naturally, we became a home for belonging for all, regardless of disciplinary identity. Anyone who believed in displacing fragmented care with whole person care had a home here. CFHA became a professional safe space where new, awkward, and odd ideas would be nurtured to become vehicles of change. When our family unit became nearly extinct multiple times, like all families, members overfunctioned to return us to stability. Like all families with young children, we have had sibling rivalries between models. We even had a season of consternation as we debated the word family itself in our name. A healthy family has such tensions. Last year, I used the word metaphor of a greenhouse to represent us as a developmental marker of our ongoing maturity and differentiation. A majority of you rely on this gathering year after year as your recharge point to return home with new vigor to fight for a less fragmented healthcare system. Much like we all need our families, we also need this professional family, a functional relational system to help us see ourselves, nurture each other, so that we may be more fruitful when we return to our places of work. A colleague of mine was surprised when I used the word love to describe CFHA to him. Where else should love reside other than in a family like this? So luminaries, thank you for creating something that you felt was worth saving, and you burned your lights brighter when the storms came, because there were times when we were nearly extinct, many times. You have lit a flame that many of us carry around the country today into exam rooms, community settings, education settings, policy conversations, and leadership positions. We are indebted to you, and we are warmed by each of you. Thank you. As each of you continue your brilliant lives, should clouds of despair ever darken your hour, remember the warmth of this moment, and remember the warmth of the shawls we adorned on you today. And to the rest of us, get to know your siblings and cousins, especially the new ones that raised their hands today. Our board of directors, if the board of directors can raise their hands wherever they're sitting. Okay, thank you for doing that. Keep their hands up. They are sitting among you today with a very targeted goal of linking them directly to you. They are the guardians of this family, so know them, talk to us, reach out to us, for this is a family affair. So, whoever you are and wherever you are in your journey of integration, fight for equity, or just need a respite to recharge your souls, welcome home. Welcome to CFHA.